Okay, we are 10 seconds in. Don't mind me moving paint pots around. So last week on the crafting stream, we got started on the unicorn. And today we're going to continue with that. I have a lot of paint pots here. One moment while I swap. There we go, camera view. Okay, so I only got, I should say, one little pot of water to clean brushes in, so I might have to go and get another one. I also didn't bring in anything to mix paints on. I don't think I'm really gonna need it though, because we're just working with paints I've already got. I did not get a chance to go over and redo any of the white, but honestly, it still really pops. The white and black, it almost looks like a comic book effect, so I like it as it is, and I think I'm going to leave it that way. So, let's get started. First color I'm going to be doing is actually pink, because I didn't bring an additional thing to mix paints on. I'm going to be focusing primarily on light colors first. And we're gonna... Sorry, I'm trying to make things a bit more... Yeah, we're going to focus on the lighter colors first, so that when we clean the brushes in the paint pots, or in my water pot, we won't be picking up the darker colors and accidentally darkening something we want light. So... inner ears first. And then we're going to do the nostril. Yeah, I think outlining the all of the areas in the black was a really good choice last time, because it really makes everything stand out. Okay, that's it for the pink, unless I end up going back to layer over it again later, but for right now, calling that good. And yes, I do put these little covers back on before actually closing up the paint pot. My fingers are going to be painted. And of course I forgot. This is my painting shirt for a reason. There we go. Okay, now let's get the pink all off of this. And the next color that we are going to be adding, I'm kind of two minds on. Like, do I want to do the horn in gold and black in between the spirals, or do I want to do the horn in a bone color and do gold on the spirals? Still not sure which I'd prefer, but I think I'm honestly leaning towards doing the bone color and then black between the spirals. Just cut, or not black, gold between the spirals, so that the gold more highlights things than just being there. Because, I mean, gold horn, very pretty, but honestly, I think the bone is going to look better. Also, I'm going to be doing, if you notice there's a lot of lines here, I'm actually going to be skipping every other line. And then on the reverse side, I'm going to skip the opposite lines. And there's a reason for that, which I will show you guys in a bit. But first, let's go ahead and got my brush a bit dried up. Pick up some of the bone color. And we're going to go. Now I am going to, since I'm skipping some of those lines, I'm going to have no choice but to go back over this later, because if you notice, the color from the pencil is showing through. So I'll have to go back and redo that later just to go over that and keep that from showing through as much. So there's one. Okay, I'm not going to have to be as delicate as I thought with this because that pencil does show through so well. I wish there was a way to make the colors look a bit more obvious on screen to everybody, but c'est la vie, you know? It's bone colored, so of course it doesn't show up nearly as well as anything else that I'm working with. It's fine though. Okay, so that's the first pass of the bone. We're going to hold off on doing more there with that color, and we are going to move on to the mane for now. Give that a chance to dry, then we'll go over it with the gold, and then go back over the spots that need it with the bone. So cleaning my brush again. I really do like these brushes. I'm surprised I found them for such a cheap price at Ross. I mean, I'm never surprised by finding anything at a cheap price at Ross because that's kind of their whole shtick. But good quality stuff at Ross is always kind of a surprise for me. No shade to those who shop at Ross. Just sometimes you can get really good stuff. Like my suitcase came from Ross because it had a small scuff on it, and of course the company that produced the suitcase couldn't sell it with that small scuff. Okay, so red, orange, so this streak's going to be yellow. I'm sticking with we're doing the lightest colors first. And I'm going to have to be a bit more delicate here because I don't want to bleed these colors together. Okay, so that's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, red, orange, yellow. Okay, next one. Now, one of my kids would tell me that this is a horrible design choice because he can't stand the color yellow. The other would grumble and say, "Why are you asking me this?" Which is funny because he's the actual artist. Every family has an artist. I'm more the crafter than the artist, so it's not me. My brother is definitely, my mom and my brother, I should say. Like my brother draws really well. My mom paints and draws. Got some gorgeous hand-blown eggs that she did. Tucked away because I don't trust myself or my kids not to break them, or my spouse, honestly. Let's be real here. We're all a family of klutzes. Okay, so yellow, green, blue, or green, blue, violet. No, that goes all the way through. Okay, I don't think there's going to be any other streaks of yellow. So let's go ahead and put the lid on that. And clean that brush. I really need to remember to use one of my big Talenti pots for this, because I actually have a brush cleaning tool that I can tuck in one of those. But man, these little terracotta clay pots are so convenient. I get them from yogurt. And then you just, wash them out, dry them, and they serve so many uses. I've drilled holes in some and turned them into tiny flower pots. I use them for so much stuff. All the time. Okay. Wait, no, I can't lift this up and take it off this thing because then you guys can't see what I'm doing. It's already turning out really nicely. This is going to be a bigger one, so I can load up my brush a bit more for this section. Best thing about this is I got the plaque from Dollar Tree. So if I do mess up too badly and just can't stand it and have to do it again, I'm only out $1.50, roughly, counting tax. Okay, so green, blue. Get back over there. Okay. heads and trying to decide what's the lightest color of the next, and I think it's going to be on my green. Because the red for this is a very bold and vibrant shade of red. Same with the blue and the purple. I actually think I'll do green next, and then the red, the purple, and the blue. Blue is going to be very last because it is definitely the most intensely dark of the blues that I've got. I've got some other blues I could have used, but I liked that one because I'm trying very hard for the standard color wheel, or, well, not color wheel because that would be a slightly different thing, but the standard, you know, rainbow spectrum that we were all raised on, minus indigo, because I honestly don't know what shade indigo would be. So I'm trying to make it a little easier on myself. And just pulling this over to show you guys. What I actually do is, if it's got the color on the lid, I dip into that and use it as almost a little, hold on, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, right, green comes down here, violet, no, that's red, crud, that's going to be my red, or that's going to be my purple, so green does not bleed over, which is sad because I was hoping to have a bit more green, but it'll be okay. I can already tell you it's going to look really good either way, so. And given that I make art for myself and to please myself, what that was. Don't mind me pushing things out of the way. Okay. Screen again. This is the bigger green. See, this is a fairly light shade of green. I do have one as an option that is hunter green, but that's just too dark, man. For this particular application, it's too dark. Might get used later, but that's for a different thing, part. Not much to talk about, by the way, from the world of me. My realtor and I, we would have only been able to see 2 houses today, so we just decided, you know what, we'll take a week off from houses and we can do those again later if needed, but we're just taking a week off. It's been very draining to go and view houses, get our hopes up, put in an offer on a house we all really liked, and then get the news that nope, our offer wasn't accepted. And I know that's just part of the process. It's just you have to accept that's going to happen, but you know, it's tiring. And I know my kids are tired of going out every week to look at houses. And I'm tired of it. My spouse is tired of it. So, yeah, we want to just have the week off. I mean, it's Easter. We don't really celebrate Easter, but taking a break is nice. So, in sad news, the headache that I had and mentioned during the Saturday stream is still here. Has not gone away. Hopefully it won't be too much of a hassle, because I do have work tonight, but we'll just have to see. What you guys aren't seeing is I am actually cleaning my brush on my shirt. Well, hopefully we don't have a cat fight here. Figaro's gotten upstairs again. She doesn't really start fights, but she definitely finishes them. And Lady is absolutely convinced that Figaro is the most evil thing on earth. Probably because Lady keeps trying to fight Figaro, and Figaro keeps winning because, as I've mentioned before, Figaro is 12 pounds of muscle and Lady is 12 pounds of fat and fluff. Just sitting up some so that I can keep an eye on both of them. For the most part, they've stopped attacking each other if there's a human around. If there's not a human around, then all bets are off. As long as I can see them both, it shouldn't be an issue. And right now I can. Lady is up here on the back of one of the couches, staring intently in the direction that Figaro went. Figaro is in the dining room, sitting near the door. Watching me. There's a very good chance she's waiting for me to go and open the door so she can go back to her part of the house, but she's going to have to wait until I finish the stream. If one of the munchkins or somebody comes up here while I'm working on it, great, but if not, she can chill for a bit. These colors really do look great on this. So, swapping out the red. Cleaning my brush again. Yeah, last time it was kind of a mistake to do the black and then do the white, because I couldn't get the brush with white fully clean because of the black in the water. This time it's going much better though, because of that decision to do the light colors and then the dark. Okay, switching over to the violet this time. That. Yep. Okay. This wood just absolutely soaks in these colors. Like, they're almost dry by the time I finish putting one color on in one place, because the wood soaks them up so intensely and so quickly. Okay. Trying not to end up with painted fingers, but I'm sure just about every artist does at some point. Though I reiterate, I am not an artist, I just play one on TV. Hold on a sec, I'm going to respond to... Sorry, friend is asking tax question, because, of course, I apparently know taxes. I mean, yes, I do ours, but I don't really know them that well. Okay. Finally moving to the blue. And the blue is actually going in a couple of spots, not just So I'm going to be very delicate with this first bit, because this unicorn is getting a blue eye. Huh. Screwing up actually gave that a more natural looking eye shine. Go figure. Oh well. Happy day. What is it Bob Ross always said? We don't make mistakes, we just have happy accidents. Very much turned out to be true on that one. See, these are broader strips, so I can pick up more paint on the brush. It's only when I do these delicate edges that I have to be careful not to get too much. Sorry I stopped talking. I kind of hold my breath when working on certain bits. If you notice, I'm always starting in the center of the strip, even if I'm actually needing to work on the edges. And the reason for that is the paint, because it is such a thick acrylic paint, it really picks up a lot, even when I'm not trying to. And so what I'm doing is I'm putting that large blob in the middle of the part I'm working in, and then I spread it outward from there. Thank you so much, Luna. Pleasure to have you with me today. All right. Here we go. just going to keep bringing that color down, filling in the little notches and gouges in the wood with this thicker acrylic paint to try and make certain none of the wood shows through in the painted areas. And then at some point I'll be going back with the black to cover up the spots where the black soaked in so much that you can't see the definition between the two colors as well. That'll be the very last thing I do, though, because I don't want to have black in my paint water until I'm finishing up. Okay. Need to figure out what to do with this bit here, which is two colors, or one color of hair that just kind of got put there, and I'm not quite certain what to do with it. So I'll figure it out, though. I always do. Okay, so there's all my blue. I've just got those two spots. I might actually do the violet for that, go back and use the violet there, because so little of the violet actually ended up visible on things. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay. And then the horn, by this point, should be dry enough that I can go over it with the gold. And then we'll give that just a touch of time to dry. I guess we'll just chat while it's drying. Hold on just a second. Just gonna sneak in here. We don't want to cover those black lines because I like that sharp delineation they provide. It very much gives it a comic book feel to me. But we're just going to fill this area in very carefully. And there we go. Alright, so, and purple on my finger again. getting the lid back on this. Okay. Now, give me a second to clean this brush, but we'll be switching to a different brush. I just don't like to leave my brushes sitting in the paint water. It is not good for them. Okay. There we go. Okay, so setting that brush aside, and we're going to use our size 0 brush for this next bit. And the gold I have to shake up a lot because it separates out because it's kind of glittery and metallic. Okay. This is another of the colors that I've never had to use before. So of course the very first thing I do when I open it up is get some on my laptop. That's a good thing. Yep. That goes on the shirt too. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully this gold will cover up the pencil lines really well. I might have to do a second coat of the gold, which is fine, since I'm already going to be doing a second coat of the bone. Gold doesn't show up nearly as well on stream, but that's okay. It doesn't have to. I can show it off once I'm done. There, just changing the angle shows it off a bit better. And again, the reason I am skipping lines with the gold is because I realized it was going to be far too many lines. So instead, I'm just skipping every other one, and I'm going to touch up with the bone once I'm done to cover up the skipped lines. Yeah, if I put the gold on really thick, it covers up those lines. But it also makes it really easy to overdo them. So it's going to be a real test to get everything the right thickness. The gold is full of glitter, and the glitter is now all over my fingers. It's okay. Not the first time I have infected myself with craft herpes. Will not be the last. Okay. And we're going to go ahead get as much of the gold and glitter off the brush as possible. Clean it, dry it a bit, then grab that bone and go back over the white line, or the lines. By then my zero brush should be dry enough that I can, well, it doesn't have to be dry, it just, I prefer it to be a bit drier. Did you just fall right in the water? No, you did not. Okay, good. See, when I go on more thickly, those lines kind of disappear. And then it's just a matter of trying to smooth it out over them. I think there's always going to be a bit of a shadow, but you work with what you work with. Don't exactly have like a painter's knife that I could smear the paint on really thickly with. And I'm not sure I would want to, because it would, like, it's great and all that some of the some of the old masters played with texture by using thicker oil paints, but that's not the goal I've got with this, so we are just dotting that paint on over those lines to cover them up some. Kind of surprised that the white didn't give me that same issue with the lines being visible through it. Just didn't. So I'm going to need to go over this line here with black, and then touch up some of the spots where the black isn't quite as vibrant in between the colors. But I think it's turning out really well. Let's see here. Gotta go a little bit. Yeah, I'll need to go back and redo those later, but that's fine. We can worry about it later. Thank you so much, Luna. Okay, let's see, I am... Come on, you. Anytime I have to work really thickly with the paints, it's a real pain to get them out of my brush. Okay, so that's since I didn't need to touch up the, well, got one spot where I'll need to touch up the white, but it's not a big spot. It'll be fine. I'll worry about that probably later. Okay, so the black on the lid of this, not going to be very useful. It's not quite dried up, but it's tacky, and it's dried up enough that it's more like trying to poke into plastic than it is paint. So we're just gonna dip direct into the paint. Okay. I see some spots I want to touch up that aren't in the areas we painted today. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to go over here. We're just touching up those delineations, making them a tad more clear. But we are almost done. Okay. Aside from touching up the horn with the gold and the bone later, I think that the unicorn and a little bit of the white here where it's bled between, I think we are done with the unicorn, which brings me to what our next thing will be. So, I don't remember if I mentioned it on last stream, but this is two-sided, and I've drawn on both sides. But I did not draw a unicorn on both sides. The other side is a Kelpie. Now, it's a Kelpie with a horn, which they normally don't have, but, you know, I have to follow the wood, so since the wood has the horn attached, other side is going to be the Kelpie with a horn, which they don't normally have. But, so next week, I'll be painting this too. So that's what's going to be happening next time. For right now, I think it looks really good. I'll be setting it out to dry, and hopefully next week we will have time to work on it then. Keep in mind, it'll probably be the middle of the night when I do work on it, because we're probably going to be going out to view houses again next week. Today, not doing so was kind of a fluke, not the normal. Let's go ahead and swap back to the chatting screen as I managed to pour paint water all over my hand. This, by the way, is why I don't put the paint pot on my laptop, or the water pot on my laptop. It stays on the arm of the couch. Where if I get water on things, it only goes on the couch, not on me. Well, it goes on me, but it doesn't fry the electronics, which is the important bit. So, just like last time, the only brushes we used were the 0 and the 2. I do have some much bigger brushes, but not for this particular project. This one is probably going to be entirely done in small, single bits. Okay, going to set those paints aside because they're what I'll be using next week, or later on. Probably going to do the touch-ups off screen instead of on. Just because they're such minor things, it wouldn't take up an entire stream. But I think we're doing really good. I think it looks pretty great. And I hope that everybody who joined me today had fun doing so. We will be doing our stream again for the gaming stream next week on Saturday, probably in the middle of the night, since that's when I prefer to do things. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and get my paints put up again. I do hope, though, that everyone has a great week, that everyone stays safe, and takes care of themselves, takes care of each other, and I'll see you guys next week on the gaming stream. Bye.